Welcome home, everyone. This is Unrooted, a podcast for those who belong nowhere and everywhere. So today is a really exciting episode because I have an amazing guest, Mr. Tom Hopcroft, right? Okay. He is a Brit who moved to Spain about a decade ago, right?
More or less, yeah.
Okay, cool. And it's amazing because he moved here, from what I understand it, because you were in a relationship with somebody who was from Spain. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately it didn't work out, right?
Unfortunately or fortunately.
Or fortunately,
okay.
True.
These things happen for a reason sometimes.
Exactly. And slowly he started to find his way in Spain and figured out what he wanted to do. And he built an amazing community of expats called Guiris de Mierda. And it's become quite a success, I would say. Mm-hmm. It's really impressive. And when I started this podcast and was looking at what kind of guests I wanted to have, and came across Guiris de Mierda and your personal page on Instagram, I realized, that you would be a perfect guest because we're kind of doing something similar, or I'm trying to do something similar, build a community of expats. What inspired me to start Unrooted was kind of like my international background and finding people alike. And I really realized how niche this topic was when I came to Madrid, and I always struggled to sort of like realize what my identity was. Mm-hmm. And just kind of wanted to build that community to bring other people who are similar to me together, you know? And that's why I find what you're doing really, really inspiring because you're bringing people together.
Thank you.
In a really amazing way.
I appreciate the kind words.
So, when you first moved to Madrid, because you moved a decade ago, right? Yeah. I feel like Madrid has changed quite a bit in the last 10 years. It's become a lot more international than what it used to be. Mm-hmm. So what was your experience like moving at that time to Madrid?
Okay, so my experience moving to Madrid 10 years ago. So to be honest, I kind of came like with no money in my bank account. I came from Australia, as in like I'd been living in Australia previously the year before. Mm-hmm. And I came because I'd met this girl and like fallen in love with her. And although we weren't actually together, like I'd fallen for her, but...
Where'd you meet her? In Australia?
I met her actually in Leeds, where I went to university.
Oh, okay.
So funny. But I met her in Leeds, and then we did like long distance talking. We weren't even together while I was in Australia for a whole year. Mm-hmm. And I kind of figured that maybe that love story would come to a natural end. But anyway, it didn't. And so next thing I know, after my visa in Australia is coming to an end, I'm jumping on a plane to go and be with her, or to see if it will work in Madrid, basically. So when I arrived, I had no money to my name. I was like completely broke. I was like living in an apartment that was 200 euros a month, like for a little tiny box room, 200 euros a month.
Where was that?
In Alute, in the outside of Madrid, basically.
Wow.
I had nothing apart from like my love for this girl. you know what I mean? That's pretty much all I had, but that was enough at the time. Especially because where I was living, I wasn't even living in the center. I was living in like what's known as kind of like maybe a rough neighborhood, or like it's like full of old Spanish people and Latinos basically. And there's like, I don't know, there's the deportation center or something there. So you get a lot of interesting characters roaming around basically.
Okay.
Long story short, it felt like I was the only English guy in Madrid back then. It felt like there was no other English people here, and I kind of loved it for that reason. I was like, wow, I kind of feel like I'm on an adventure. None of my friends had moved to Madrid before. None of my friends had like tried to start even speaking another language. I really felt like that was the first time in my life where I was kind of going off the beaten track, or I was going off and doing my own thing a little bit, because even previously when I'd lived in Australia for a year and I traveled around Southeast Asia, this is something that all English people do, you know what I mean? After university, we leave university and go and live in Australia and do the working holiday visa for a year.
Right.
And that's exactly what
I've even talked about that in another episode, how like I've had the urge to go to Bali or go to Australia and just get that work visa.
Yeah. So basically how was it? That's how it was. It was like, I felt like I was the only English person. I'd walk down Gran Via and I'd never hear English, you know what I mean? And like at the end of, I'd come back from a night out, And the people that I'd met, because I met people pretty much as soon as I came through, I did like a language school, like an intense course for 3 weeks. So like just to learn the basics of Spanish, you know what I mean? Like to learn what a verb is, because in English we never even learn what a verb is in English. We're awful with languages. Anyway, so I'd be at Gran Via at 3 a.m. on like a random Saturday, and I wouldn't hear any English. It was just Spanish people everywhere, and I felt like I was on like a different planet. Basically, I felt like I was definitely on a different continent. It just didn't feel like it was anything used to what I'd seen before, or what I'd experienced before. And for that reason, it was exciting. For that reason, it was like inspiring. And that was the reason why I was like, well, no, that was one of the things that made me think, wow, I'm on like an adventure here. I'm doing something that's different.
Yeah. And honestly, your Spanish is really good. I've noticed from your videos. You came here not knowing a word of Spanish, right?
I came here knowing probably hola and mucho gusto, which obviously they don't even say that in Spain, really. You know what I mean? You don't say.
True.
So I was saying that to my girlfriend's friends, and they were like, "Who the fuck?"
Or cerveza.
Cerveza. I didn't even. I don't think I even knew that, to be honest. Like, that was my level of Spanish was so bad. I spoke 2 words basically.
Well, it's really, I feel like you can communicate yourself perfectly in Spanish now.
Perfectly? I mean, I wouldn't say perfectly. I can speak Spanish, though.
Yeah. That's awesome.
When someone asks me, like, are you fluent? I always think, like, what is fluency? Because am I even fluent in English? I guess yes. But it's like you have to know all the words. I don't really know.
Yeah.
With Spanish, I'd say that, I can communicate my point, like, pretty well. Yesterday, I had to go and sign some legal documents, and I had no idea what the person was saying to me the whole time, for example. So that kind of stuff is a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
Medicine, I had a surgery a few weeks back, and with the doctors, I was like, what is this language? Because it's just stuff that you don't ever hear.
Yes.
But day to day, I'm fine.
Honestly, even for me sometimes, because like I said, the past 10 years I've lived outside of Spain. So any kind of like legal documents and things like that, I was dealing with it in English because I was in England and the States. So now moving back to Spain, I'm adapting to like how everything works here. Because obviously when I was a kid and living here, I never dealt with that. So
I've heard that so many times from people, like from Spanish people actually, that go and live somewhere else. Yeah. And then if they live somewhere for like a 10-year period, like I was speaking to someone the other day and she said something really interesting. She was saying that I grew up, she was saying this. She's like, I grew up in Spain, but then for the last 10 years, she lived in Australia. So she's like, only over the past 10 years, all this language about kind of like anxiety and mental health has only just became more prominent in culture. So she said that she doesn't know any of that language or how they really say it in Spanish. She learns it all in English because she was living in Australia that whole time.
Interesting.
And when she came back to Spain, she's like, why do I say this stuff?
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay.
Funny, right?
But yeah, no, it is funny because like I would go and do things that like gestión, you know, like legal documentation here in Spain with the social security, whatever. And they'd be explaining things to me and I'm talking to them in Spanish. They know I'm Spanish and I'm like, I don't know what you're telling me. And they're like, you're Spanish. Like, what the fuck? But yeah. And is there any other language that you are like, that you want to learn?
No.
You're done with Spanglish is good enough.
To be honest, like I would love if I'm going all in on Spain. My philosophy in life is just to pick some things that you like and just go all in on those things. You know what I mean? So I'm going all in on Spain right now. My whole brand is in Spain. My life is in Spain. My passions are in Spain. Like there's enough of Spain for me to travel somewhere different every single weekend for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? And never run out of things. Yeah. You can ski here. You can surf here.
Yeah.
Hike. I can have crazy nights out. Like you can do the cheap nights in Lavapiés, or if you want to be fancy, you can go to Barrio Salamanca. You know what I mean? You can do everything in Spain. You can go to the north. There's different cultures in the Basque Country. There's different cultures in Catalonia, Galicia, Asturias, everywhere. You know what I mean? So for me, I'm going all in on Spain right now. The only other countries that I'd be really interested in to kind of explore more right now, at least, would be like Latin America. I'd love to do Latin America, and I think because there's a lot of crossover with like Spanish speaking. I could probably do a lot of my content over there as well. But in terms of other languages, I'm just going all in on Spanish. I think I need to get my Spanish better first before I worry about learning Mandarin.
Nice. Oh, my next language is going to be French. That's what I want.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I already started it in school, so I have like a foundation. So I might as well
I started
work on something I already know.
We have asseyez-vous, means sit down.
Asseyez-vous.
Yeah. That's pretty much all I remember. Asseyez-vous.
So I just want to know a bit more about like that shift for you, because you started Guiris de Mierda like 2 years ago, more or less?
Unofficially, yes. Kind of, yeah.
Okay. But you moved to Spain way before that. So there must have been kind of like a transformative period for you where everything maybe like fell apart a little bit and then you started to rebuild into something new.
So, kind of. I've never spoke about this so much before, I guess, really. I've always avoided this topic, but maybe today's an exclusive, you know? Yeah. So, no, I'm feeling pretty open today, so why not? So, I moved here for the Spanish girl. After the Spanish girl we were together for a couple of years and it didn't work out. Everything ended on really good terms. It was perfect, you know? And then pretty close afterwards, like within 6 months, I met an American girl. And this was probably the most serious relationship of my life. And we kind of like moved around together a lot and we moved in together pretty quickly and it got really serious really fast. We met each other's families and all this sort of stuff. And we were together for a total about 3-ish years, but it felt like that was my first real true love, to be honest. Like it felt like we understood each other on like really, really deep levels and it was super intense. Like I was in a crazy time in my life where I was like going out partying all the time and she was crazy as well, but like in the best way possible. But also with good crazy comes bad crazy a little bit, but whatever. So like we had a really passionate relationship, you know what I mean? Like just crazy stories and just like lots of arguments, but lots of like making up as well and just traveling. It was really, really fun. Really, really fun. But one of the funny things about it was, not one of the funny things, is when it started to end, it ended over like a 2-year period as well. So the whole saga was about like 4.5 years kind of thing. And we were very on and off when we were ending. She moved back to the States. I stayed in Spain, but I was like crushed by the breakup. I was like super, although like she broke up with me, I broke up with her, she broke up with me, you know what I mean? We got back together and it was one of those things. But in the end, we called it quits, but I was like super down basically. But I knew it was for the best, but I was still super down.
Yeah.
And so I had all this energy. And I think I was funneling it in the time to the wrong places. Like I was going out on new dates and stuff, but I wasn't really ready to meet someone new. So I was just kind of like trying to fill the void with somebody else. Wrong way to do it. I've learned since then. And so in the end, I was like, okay, other things at the same time were kind of coming together as well. So it was like that was probably the main factor for me kind of starting content. But I'd also in these years that I'd been with this girl, I was going through like a career change as well. So I'd previously been in sales and then I'd moved into design. So I'd studied and spent lots of money on this boot camp to do like a design course. And I just became a UX designer. So I was about a year into my new UX job and like it was a job that I really was convinced I was going to love because it was more creative and all this sort of stuff. And once I got my first job, I was like, I'm not sure if this is it. I was like, this is better. This is a step forward compared to what I was doing. Because now I was working remotely, I was getting paid more money, but I was like, this still isn't what I'm going to do. You know what I mean? Like this isn't the thing that I'm going to do because I tried the freelance route with it. I didn't like it. I didn't like working with clients. They're super needy. I didn't like them at all. And then I started working for a startup and I don't like having bosses, I guess. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things where I just hate
being an entrepreneur.
I mean, I don't know. I like to work with people where everyone has something on the line. I like to own my own thing. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm a natural born entrepreneur, but I think that I've definitely got some entrepreneurial qualities, you know?
What's your star sign?
Sagittarius.
Oh my God, I knew it.
Really?
I'm a Sagittarius.
Oh really? When's your birthday?
December 14th.
Oh really? That's one day before my mum's. Mine's November 27th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's fine.
No, Sagittarius, we like to be adventurous.
Yeah, they tell me that. Yeah.
You know, I mean, like don't like to be boxed in.
Okay, yeah. You know? This is for me for sure. So not that I really believe in the star sign stuff, but whatever. You know what I mean? I mean, I like to hear it because everyone always tells me, "Oh, you're so adventurous." I'm like, yeah, just keep telling me the nice things. What's the downsides of being a Sagittarius?
Well, I've heard that Sagittarius men are like the worst, but
really?
I don't think it's true because you're like the third Sagittarius guy that I've met, and you're lovely, and so were the other ones.
To be fair, we only met today. For the viewers, we only met today, so you don't really know. Yeah. Maybe I'm not lovely. I like to think, well, everyone's good and bad in some ways, right?
Yeah, so but I don't know what the downside. I think it's like that we're not able to commit to things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think that's like the downside. And that's not entirely untrue for me. I have kind of like meandered a lot in life. But yeah. Anyway.
Okay. So to carry on that story, around this time, so I was going through this awful breakup. As well, on top of that, I was with, I just kind of got this new job that I was convinced was going to be my job. And then I was kind of like, not sure if this was it. And then at the same time, me and my friend had been doing like this side project of like YouTube together. Like he was like, Tom, let's start a YouTube channel. So we'd started doing like YouTube channels. So I started learning editing. He's my best friend in Madrid, but it kind of got to the point where we'd done the YouTube channel for a year. I was doing all the work. I was really loving it. And although it was his idea initially, he wasn't really loving it so much. So I was like, should we just stop it? You know, like, 'cause it was kind of, it was becoming like a point of like, I was bugging him. I was like, come on, we got to film the video this week.
Right.
So in the end, I was like, okay, I like doing this, so I'm going to do my own thing instead. I was like, so we stopped the YouTube channel, and I started working on my own social media.
At this point, did you have a following, or was it? No.
So at this point, we had like 1,000 subscribers on YouTube,
Okay.
but like it wasn't like a loyal following or anything. People subscribed to us because they like to, I guess they like the music that we would listen to only Spanish music, and we sometimes speak in English, sometimes speak in Spanish for the videos, and that was kind of our niche, you know. But like, I wasn't really passionate about it. He wasn't really passionate about it. Like, I like Spanish music to a certain degree.
Yeah.
But it's not the type of stuff that I'll listen to. Like now, obviously more and more it's becoming super popular with like Bad Bunny's new album, obviously like amazing. And there's like Karol G and all this kind of stuff. Like they're all becoming like the main superstars of the planet basically. But the stuff I listen to is like rap and hip hop and stuff. So like we'd listen to this music and we'd be like, yeah, it's kind of good. We didn't really have strong opinions, you know? So anyway, so I had no following and I was like, okay, I'm going to start something because I wanted to start a business. I've always watched lots of entrepreneurial content and I just never knew like, what is step one to starting a business? I didn't know what I'd do to like start making money.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd seen so many examples of like content businesses, you know, when someone like, when they have a following and you can then monetize your audience. So I was like, okay, this is something that I could see myself doing.
Is that step one?
So for me, it was step one.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I didn't know what step one was in general. And I think obviously depending on the business, it can be loads of different things. But for me, my step one was like, okay, I'm going to build an audience. And I know if I build an audience, I'll be able to monetize that audience somehow. I didn't know how, but I knew eventually. I've seen so many examples of it. You know what I mean? You watch YouTube and like even ad revenue, for example, is like the most basic way that someone can monetize an audience on YouTube. But I was doing short form content, and like the way that you monetize short form, at least initially, is like maybe brand deals or affiliate links or whatever, you know, like there's different ways to monetize short form.
Yeah.
And because I knew that this was I would have done YouTube, but it takes way too long to edit and all this sort of stuff. I'm sure with your podcast, like the editing it can be a bit of a pain in the ass.
Yes. It takes hours.
It takes hours.
It's so tedious.
Yeah, it takes hours. You should get an editor. But anyway.
I know. Guys, I need more views. I can afford an editor.
So I started making short form content, and initially I was making it around UX design, which was the job that I was doing. So I was like making videos, like tutorials and all this kind of stuff. I was doing tutorials. Oh, did you know about this UX feature? Did you know this principle of UX? Like UX is kind of like, have you heard of it before?
It's something like,
it's like
graphic design.
It's kind of like graphic design, but for apps.
Okay.
And for web apps and for websites. But the idea is like it puts like the usability, like how would a human use this?
Oh,
at the forefront.
Yes. Okay.
And so like I would talk about the principles of UX and all that sort of stuff. And the first way I started to monetize actually was like I would do portfolio reviews. So junior designers would submit their portfolios to me and I would review them for free. But if they wanted to do the queue jump and get like a next day review, then they would pay me €15 and then I would like do it. And that was how I first started monetizing. I think I made my first couple of €100 like online. Yeah. So that was like the way that I first started like monetizing my audience. But then I got to the point where I was doing UX content and I was like, I'm replacing my job with a fucking job. Like UX isn't my passion, you know?
Yeah.
So from there I kind of went on and started doing more lifestyle stuff, the stuff that I do now.
Okay, cool. And is that the moment that you decided to go all in?
I went all in when I started doing short form. When I stopped doing YouTube reactions with my friend and I started doing short form content and I started making TikToks and stuff, I was like blasting at least 3 videos a day because my videos now are more high effort and then there's more like work that goes into them. But back then I was doing short stuff, I was doing skits, I was doing like little short edits, I was doing tutorials, so I could make a lot of videos, you know what I mean? Like my output was really, really high and I was having lots of success on TikTok. I started on TikTok first because I was a bit scared to go onto Instagram because everyone would see me. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's true, but like I always recommend people to go onto TikTok first because it's way more. It feels more anonymous. You know what I mean? On Instagram, like all your friends are going to see the video the next day, but you still shouldn't care about that anyway. It's like,
exactly.
You shouldn't care, but I know that people care, and I cared as well. So I started on TikTok. When I got about 10,000 followers on TikTok, and I started to have some success, I was like, okay, this is something that maybe I can take over to Instagram now, and I'm having success. So that's when I went all in, and I was just like. I was like psycho with it. Like I wasn't going out.
You trusted yourself.
Yeah. I poured all that energy from the breakup into it was kind of like, I think that I hear this all the time, like entrepreneurial people, a lot of them have a chip on their shoulder about something. And my chip on my shoulder was like, this breakup, I was like, I'll show her, you know?
Right.
I'll show her. So that was kind of the chip. That was the chip on my shoulder. I need a new chip on my shoulder now because now I'm pretty chilled. I need to go through another heartbreak.
Yeah. That's so interesting. I feel like we have kind of I'm having a bit of a similar journey to you because I had a breakup last summer when I had just moved to Madrid.
Yeah.
I basically, when I left New York, I packed up my life in 2 weeks and I was like, I have to leave.
Yeah.
And I left, but it was like also a relief for me because I felt like I was holding on to something that wasn't serving me anymore.
Okay.
And so like went through the breakup, moved back to Spain after feeling like, I hadn't made it in New York City and I had no clue what I was going to do in Spain. So it just felt like everything was kind of falling apart, but it was meant to because then eventually I'm now finding like my place in the world.
Yeah.
And
more things you try, like no one can fault you for that, you know what I mean? Just because you didn't make it or whatever in New York, like it doesn't matter. Like you can always go back to New York, you know what I mean? It's not the end of the story. You've got a lot of story ahead of you, basically. So it's like, and how old are you? You said 28.
28.
Yeah. So you're young as hell as well, you know?
Yeah. But I feel like I think I was meant to end up here because when I was the last few months of New York, like my gut was telling me to, like, it was screaming at me to leave. Like,
really? Okay.
It was just like something I felt, I don't know, I'm being a little spiritual, but like in my heart, like my soul, like I had to get out of there because it wasn't really the life that I was meant to be living. It felt like I was living somebody else's life. And then I don't know, something felt really right about Madrid because when I moved to Marbella, I had a decision, Madrid or Barcelona, but something inside me told me to go to Madrid. And I really think it was the right choice because I've met so many amazing people.
Yeah.
I've started this podcast that I truly believe in so much, and it's like something I'm super passionate about, and I really think I can take it somewhere cool, and I don't think it would have happened if I had gone to Barcelona. So I don't know, I'm really learning to trust myself and learning to trust my instinct, something that I really struggled with before. So
love it.
Yeah. And I just want to talk about the name Guiris de Mierda.
Yeah.
Because I really, really love that name. I think it's so clever. And because the word guiris I feel like had so many negative connotations.
Yeah.
And I feel like you've kind of like reinvented the meaning of guiri.
That's the idea.
And like you've kind of taken the power back a little bit.
Yeah.
You know?
To be honest, so yeah, I agree. Like the whole point of it is, I mean, it serves a lot of functions. The main idea is just not to take yourself too seriously. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm English. We have a big like self-deprecating humor. So it's like guiri de mierda. Like it's funny to call yourself a guiri de mierda because Spanish people will like hear it and they love it. They either love it or they think it's too strong. And if they think it's too strong, it's like you're probably not made for the community anyway. You got to have a bit of a sense of humor.
Yeah.
And so it's self-deprecating, which I love. I love it because if people use it, you call me it negatively, like un puto guiri or un guiri de mierda, I'm like, thanks for the free promotion, you know what I mean? Like you're literally promoting my brand, which is amazing. And that's where it first came from, like people in the comments and stuff. When me and my friend were doing the YouTube, people would say guiri de mierda, like unironically, and then we got t-shirts printed that say guiri de mierda basically. So then it's like, and we kind of called ourselves the guiri de mierda. So that was fun. And then, and so that's the whole idea. It's kind of like to kind of take the power back. But I mean, like, as I say, like, I know what you mean in a sense. Yeah. It is like that, but like, I don't take myself that seriously where I'm like,
right,
the idiots, what have they done to us? Because let's face it, like, we got it pretty good. You know what I mean? Like, I've got it pretty good. I haven't really ever struggled in Spain. It's not like people have ever looked at me.
You never found it to be an insult or anything like that?
No, because most of the time I have very good interactions with like Spanish people. I have very good interactions. Like, people don't hate. In my experience, people don't really hate guiris. I understand.
No, you're right.
In Marbella, in Magaluf, in these kind of places, like Benidorm, for example, of course, there's like really bad tourism stuff. And in the Canary Islands, like, of course, there's bad tourism. But I think it's like...
I was going to say, it is, I feel like, worse in Marbella. Like I just had an experience when I was a teenager being called a guiri, even though I was from Marbella, born and raised there, and that was my home. And I found that frustrating. But now I don't care. I'm proud to be half semi-guiri. But yeah, it's because Marbella, it's a party place. So we get a lot of tourists that go crazy, and you see, I don't know, like you see some crazy things, like people hanging off the roof of cars, driving on the highway, or like waking up naked in the middle of the beach or whatever, you know?
Yeah,
so I think that's why maybe Maybe it's a little different in places like that, you said, than Madrid, maybe.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. And I think that, to be honest, I think that a reason why I've always had good experiences as well, because when I've been in Spain, if I go to a cafe, if I go anywhere, if I speak to somebody on the streets, I'm talking to them in Spanish, you know what I mean? So like people generally appreciate that. It's not like I'm just expecting someone to speak my language and like, you know, and like being like an ignorant tourist. Yeah, I mean, that's the idea. And the only other thing with Guiris de Mierda, I guess, with the name is like, we have lots of Spanish people that come to our events and we love that. Like the idea is like when you said it's an expat community, it's not really because we have so many Spanish in the community as well.
Yeah.
So that's what's quite cool about it. It's like we have lots of locals and one of the real ideas is like to integrate locals with the foreigners, you know what I mean?
Very inclusive.
Yeah. I think, I mean, like we say that everyone's felt like a giddy at some point in their lives, so everybody's like welcome, you know, like when you were ever in New York, you probably felt like a giddy in some respects. Like if you're catching the subway, you don't know how to do it, you feel like a tourist. Like for me, it's like a bit of an exchangeable word for like tourist sometimes.
Expat, nomad, or person who's outside of their usual
bubble,
habitats,
comfort zone,
bubble. Yeah, exactly. And you guys are operating in Barcelona as well, right? Do you think you'll expand to other cities in Spain?
So this is the challenge for us right now. In Madrid, everything's going really well. Events are selling out. Everything's perfect. I'm here. I know people here. You know what I mean? I've got a really good network here. In Barcelona, it's just a little bit more difficult. We've done, in the first 3 months of this year, we've done about, I'd say 6 or 7 events maybe in Barcelona. This month might be the first event in this year that we're not going to have any events because we're taking a step back. I need to figure out basically the best way to expand, whether that's getting the right people in the right city, how that kind of structure will work with somebody that's running it there that's not me. It's like finding someone that I can trust, because it's not really scalable, or it's not really feasible for me to go to Barcelona and spend half my time in Barcelona, because realistically I travel a lot. I've got like I'm doing the Camino de Santiago next week. After that I'm actually in the south. I'll be in Marbella for a couple of weeks. Not only Marbella, I've got a van. I've got like a Volkswagen van, so I'm going to be like driving around the south of Spain. I'm going to be going to like Tarifa and Andalusia. I'll go to Sevilla, I'll go to Malaga, but I'll go to all like little surf towns as well on the way down. So I travel a lot, so expanding to other places. I would love to expand to Malaga. I would love to do Valencia. We've got an event in Valencia coming up. So if you're in Valencia, get on the Valencia newsletter, because we have like a big Valencia event coming up basically. And yeah, it's a case of like that's the main challenge in my business right now. I'm trying to figure out how to expand.
Yeah, because it's really just you and maybe a few other people who are helping you.
There's me, there's my right-hand woman, Chris. She's like a superwoman. She's like mini-me. She does everything that I do, but probably better. And then we have a couple of other hosts. At the moment, we've got a girl called Mariana, who's like been a member of the community since basically the start. She's amazing. I love her. And Taylor, who's like a little bit newer, but like equally amazing. She's like great. So there's us, and they're like the host team. And then we have like Johnny. Johnny's a photographer, our like video photographer. So he does the YouTube vlogs for us. He's like the film guy, you know what I mean? He's great up behind the camera. He gets the moments. And then finally, I'd say like the last member of the team is a guy called Beto.
Okay.
Who's a Venezuelan guy. He's like a programming dude. So we call him the Guiris de Mierda, like tech guy. He's the official tech guy. Cool. And he does all like so he made the algorithm for the matching for speed dating. We do events called Rooftop of Love, or we've done different love events where you fill out a little questionnaire, and then by the end of the event we'll match you with someone. So you get one match by the end of the event based on the questions that you go. Okay. So we've got one of them coming up. We've got loads of stuff coming up, and Beto does all the behind the scenes tech stuff for that.
Amazing.
And that's kind of the team.
Okay, cool. Amazing. Yeah. Okay, moving on to, I'm going to talk about your adventures.
Yeah.
I found it amazing that you skateboarded down from the north of Spain, the south of Spain, and you recently did Canarias, right?
Yes, exactly.
No, I thought that was insane. And I just wanted to ask you, what was the longest time that you went skateboarding without sleeping, without eating? Like, was it like several hours, or did you stop like every hour?
So the interesting thing is, like on the peninsula, there's some stretches where you have like, you're going through beautiful towns, and like you have a lot of opportunities to stop somewhere. Yeah. But then once you go through places like Castilla y León, or some places in Extremadura, or even some places in like it's like in between the pueblos, there could be 30 kilometers, and 30 kilometers was like what I'd do in a day. So it's like from the start of the day to the end of the day, sometimes there was no opportunity to eat. Or like, I mean, like usually there would be, usually I'd be able to find something, but there were many, many times where I'd get to like, I'd think, fuck, I haven't eaten anything for like 5 hours.
Wow.
And if you don't, so it's all about preparation. That's what I learned. Like at the start of the day, if I get some snacks and that sort of stuff, then just in case I can't find somewhere to eat, like a cafe or something, then at least I can get something. And in a lot of these places, like you go through these tiny little towns, there's always a bar in one of these towns, which is good, but there's not always food there. The kitchen isn't open, whatever, but you can always grab a beer. They might give you some chips. So I was never too far away from food. Like it was, you're in Spain at the end of the day. Like I'm not like in the Sahara Desert, you know, I'm near civilization at all points.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I'm on foot, obviously you move slow, so you can be quite far away from, you can be off the beaten path and quite far away from.
How long did the entire trip take you from start to finish?
I think it took me 55 days.
Wow.
55 days, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So I started in San Juan de Gaztelugatxe and I finished in Tarifa.
Wow.
It was incredible. Honestly, it was the most incredible experience of my life. It was like super life changing. I can imagine. When I was doing it, I wasn't super, I was in the moment, I was locked in and I wasn't feeling like this is a life changing experience, but upon reflection afterwards, I'm like, wow, that was definitely a life changing experience. Yeah, because you probably took a little while to process everything that happened. By the way, I love Tarifa. So it wasn't my favorite.
What? Yeah, really? Me and my friends go there every summer and we love it.
Okay.
Like we go to the beach and then we go out. Why did you love it?
I didn't go in summer. I guess it was quiet. For me, I was like, is this it?
When did you
I was there in October.
Oh, yeah, no. I feel
so okay.
June, September, probably the best months. I mean, July and August are fun too, but probably very touristy and hot. Yeah. But yeah, I would say June and September are really great months to go.
I found in general that all the places people tell me you have to go here, it's good, it's amazing. Like Cadiz, the amount of times I got told that Cadiz is the most amazing, beautiful place ever. And I got there, I was like, is this it?
Really? Yeah, what part?
I mean, Cadiz, the city.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I have never been, so I don't really know.
I was like, okay. But really? I went to a hostel.
You should have gone to Jerez.
I went to Jerez. That was amazing.
Right?
Jerez was super cool. I really loved Jerez. But I'd never heard of Jerez before. I went in there by chance. I went through it on the way to Jerez by chance.
Did you drink sherry?
I actually didn't.
No, you went to Jerez.
I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know. This is the problem.
It's sherry country.
Yeah, I know. I've been told afterwards. That's the problem. Like doing the videos. The videos are always behind because like I do the video and then if I'm out for a halt for 55 days, it's not like I can get a video out every single day because it takes me time to edit. So by the end of the trip, I'm like 10 or 15 days behind. So then by the time the videos are coming up, people are like, did you do this? You should do this and whatever. I'm like, this was a month ago at this point.
Late. You know? Right.
So I miss out on a lot of stuff, but it just gives me an excuse to go back.
Okay. And in one of your videos, it said that you had seen things. I think you said something like you had seen things that you didn't think you would see or you wouldn't believe or something like that.
You wouldn't believe unless you were there.
Yes. And I was really curious to know like what was like something that really stuck with you.
So, I mean, there's lots of stuff that like on that first trip, on this trip to the Canarias, this most recent one, it was much more like it was work hard, play hard, I would say, where I did a lot of partying because this time I was like, okay, through the peninsula. So when I went through the peninsula, I branded that the wrong way down. Yeah. And when I did the Canary Islands, I branded that Escape the 8.
Okay.
Because there's 8 islands. Okay. So like if I ever say the wrong way down, that's just how I refer to it. But I know that maybe the viewers might be confused, like what's he on about the wrong way down?
Yeah.
Escape the 8.
Okay.
So when I did the peninsula, when I did the wrong way down, it was very like get up every day, walk, make it work, find the story, edit the video, no breaks, no rest. If you party, you're walking the next day. Whereas on Skate the 8, I was like, I'm not going to be as kind of crazy with it because I didn't feel like I had the same thing to prove that I had with the peninsula, and the peninsula was such a bigger task as well. So I was like, I want to get it done. And with Escape the 8, I was like, I'm going to take my time. I'm on the Canary Islands at the end of the day. So I was like, if I like somewhere, I'm going to actually stay there a few days. So I did much more of that. So the things that you wouldn't believe, there was stuff like, I don't know, like for example, I remember one time I was coming from the last town, I can't remember the name, the last town in Extremadura, and I had to get to Sevilla the following day. Mm-hmm. And the only way that I could get to Sevilla because we planned like a meetup there. So I had like 30 people that were confirmed for this meetup in a certain bar. So I knew I had to get there. So not today, the following day. But it meant that I knew I had to do something like 50 kilometers a day, which are huge days. On the skateboard, 50 kilometers is really, really big.
Yeah.
But the good thing what I had on my side with it was all downhill. So I was like coming down from Extremadura into Sevilla. It's like you're coming down and it's like all descent. So I knew that I could like be on the skateboard and just bomb it the whole way, you know?
Nice.
And that's what I did. Well, kind of. So
Yeah.
one of the days, I remember I was in this hostel, and all the people in the hostel were talking that on the way down. So I was kind of like going against the flow of the people, because lots of people were doing the Camino de Santiago, but the one that's called La Via de la Plata, which starts in Andalucía and it goes all the way up to Santiago.
Okay.
And it meant that everyone that I would meet in these albergues and hostels, they were all going up and I was going down. I was like, oh, it suits the wrong way down. It's like so fitting, such a fitting name.
Yeah.
So it kind of, the name fit perfectly.
Yeah.
So I was going down, but everyone was telling me like, oh, there's a massive storm coming in tomorrow. It's like an umbrella storm. It's around the same time that the, what was it called? The big storm that hit Valencia, Dana.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Dana.
So Dana, it was around the same, it wasn't the same storm as that, but it was around the same time when there was loads of storms, I guess.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so there was this huge umbrella storm coming in, and everyone in the hostel was like, we're taking a bus today. We're going north, but we're taking a bus. And I remember just kind of like, I had this poncho that when I slept in my hammock, I'd put not a poncho, it was like a tarp that was used to kind of make a little tent over, or like the top, over the hammock, so I didn't get wet. But I'd also double it up if it was really wet, and I'd use it as a poncho. So I remember going out and like preparing, like wrapping up all my laptop in like plastic bags, putting everything that could be damaged in plastic bags, wrap it up and being like, this is going to be a big day. And like I went out and I just remember like facing this storm and the dark clouds were coming in, and like eventually the storm was crazy, and it was like I think
I saw a snippet of that.
Crazy.
Actually.
Yeah. Like wind just like blasted me in the face, no cars on the road, no people on the road. I didn't see anyone all day.
Oh my God.
And it was just awesome.
That's insane.
But I never felt more alive. I never felt more alive than that.
Wow. But you were fine.
Yeah, I was fine.
Wow.
I'll sit before you today.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Wow, that's insane.
Yes.
That reminds me also, I wanted to ask about like the different places you've slept, because I saw that you've slept in a cave in the side of a volcano.
Yeah.
Also in a hammock on the beach, and then also like in a half cave in the rain. And you said it was like one of the worst nights of your life or something.
This was the worst night of my life.
I honestly, I feel for you. When I saw that, I was like, I think I would cry. But my question is like, have you pondered on what crazy place you would sleep next?
Where I'd go next, I'm not sure, because with these crazy places where you end up sleeping, like they kind of, obviously, whenever I've set up the hammock or whenever I've laid down in one of these places to sleep, you always think, I'm always at least slightly prepared. So I'm like, okay, look at the weather forecast, make sure there's no rain, it should be fine, blah, blah, blah. But when these crazy nights happen, it's like, okay, the weather changes, or it turns out that it was much colder than I'd planned for, or whatever, you know what I mean? It's more out of like the conditions change, because obviously I would never, if I'd known like in that cave that it was going to rain on me all night, I would not have signed up for that.
Put yourself in that position.
When I checked the forecast, it was like sunny and like nice all night and clear.
What?
I was like, I'm going to watch the stars.
The universe was testing you. It was like, let's see how far we can push, Tom.
That was night one of Skate the 8. That was not I was in La Graciosa, and that was night one of Skate the 8. And I was like, wow, this is starting off fucking rough. But it was amazing. You know what I mean? Like, this is the thing. This is what I do this kind of stuff for, because it was an awful night, yes. But as soon as the first bit of light came up, I was like, okay,
thank God.
I'm getting up, I'm getting out, and like I got the most amazing sunrise. There was a rainbow, and then actually another storm came in and like soaked me again. But I was walking on the beach. I was the only one on the beach, and this like beautiful rainbow and the sunrise. So it's like one of those things. It's like you take the good with the bad. And actually, for the purpose of my videos and for the purpose of like my own kind of like personal growth, I like the suffering. You know what I mean? It's obviously like not the most enjoyable thing in the moment, but for me, I remember lying there in the rain, in the dirt as well, because obviously I was like in this like semi-cave that wasn't protecting me at all. And so I was like, I had my tarp around me, the same one that I said before, and I like wrapped it around me and my stuff, because I was like, okay, my laptop's in here, it can't get wet because the whole trip's ruined.
Oh God.
And so I was like lying like with like kind of with the tarp over me like this.
It looked
kind of
awful.
Yeah, it was really awful, but it was really fun. Like at the same time, I remember lying there and just being like, this is going to be a great story. This is going to be a great story. And also it's like, I know that I can get through it. You know what I mean? I've got faith in myself that if I have to lie there soaking wet all night, that's what I'll do. And I've just got faith in myself that I can do it, you know?
Yeah.
It
Wow.
helps the mental strength, I think.
Yeah. Insane. But you didn't answer the question.
So where next?
Do you know where you would sleep next?
So where next? I think summer's coming up. So I'm going to, over the next couple of weeks, because I'm going on this Volkswagen van trip, I'm going to sleep in some amazing places because the van has a bed in it. So I'm hoping to sleep next to like lovely beaches.
Wow.
I'm hoping to be like in the south and like wake up in the morning, get my little cafe con leche. And you know what I mean? I plan to catch some great sunrises and sunsets.
Yeah.
And so hopefully no uncomfortable places.
I was going to ask you, about the van, because you like did the whole skateboard thing, but now you're going to be on 4 wheels.
Yeah.
So that's going to be quite the adventure. And you said you're doing the south of Spain, so that's going to be really exciting.
It's going to be super fun. So I'm working with a brand called Wituca, and they're giving me the van for 2 weeks. And then, and I'm going to be like down by the coast most of the time. So I'll just be, if I need to shower in the sea, I'll be showering in the sea. You know what I mean? It's going to be amazing.
Sounds like an amazing summer.
I'm going to be a salty sea dog for the next 2 weeks. Well, firstly, I've got the Camino. The Camino comes up first.
Right.
I'm going to get rained on for another week. No worries. And then
that's going to be like your what, third, fourth time?
Fourth time doing Sarria de Santiago. We do as one of our group trips. We do the group trips. So doing Sarria de Santiago is the shortest Camino that you can do. Yeah. And still get your Compostela because it's like just over 100 kilometers. So for that reason, it's the Camino Frances. Yeah. It's just the end of it. For that reason, loads of people just do that last little bit. But the actual Camino Frances is over 1,000 kilometers long and starts in France. But lots of people do that last little bit, and that's for our Guiris Camino trips. That's the part that we do. So cool. I've always done that part. But then when I was doing the wrong way down, I actually joined the same Camino, but like earlier on. So I joined it in Logroño. Yeah. And I went all the way to Burgos. Yeah. And then the Camino goes north, and I kind of went down south to Valladolid and Palencia. Yeah. So I've done little different parts of the Camino, basically. Okay, cool. Amazing. I want to do it at some point. You should. It's amazing. It looks amazing. Yeah. Now that I'm living back in Spain, I'm really excited to get to know my home country more and explore more. I'm hoping to go to San Sebastian this summer. I've never been. I've heard like the biggest thing there is like the food, and I'm a big foodie. I love food, so that's probably what I'm most excited about. But yeah, I hope to do more adventures around Spain because Camino's good because if you've never taken a solo trip before, I don't know if you have. The Camino is the perfect solo trip because you've got something to do every day. You've got nice things to see every day. People are really sociable, so you'll speak to people from all ages. Like you'll speak to older people, younger people. Like you'll find, like if you want to have a beer at the end of the day, you'll definitely find people. You see the same people a lot as well because you're doing the same, like roughly the same kind of distances every day. Yeah. And then at the end, it's a big party in Santiago, so it's really fun. Okay, cool, amazing. Yeah, I've never done a solo travel, but I really want to. And I had decided that Japan was going to be my solo travel, but I feel like this is probably more achievable. Eventually, I will do Japan. So yeah, that's a great idea. I also wanted to just mention about the hitchhiking because that for me has always been like a horror, but I've noticed that in your experience it's been really nice. So I feel like that's maybe it's different for a guy, I think, right? Yeah. Okay. I always say this. The motivation somebody would have to pick me up or pick you up are going to be different. You know what I mean? No one's going to pick me up because they think I'm cute at the side of the road, but like people will pick you up for that reason, or any girl, you know what I mean? People will pick you up for that reason. Yeah. It doesn't happen so much with guys, and from my experience, people that pick me up are just like kind people. You know what I mean? They're people that are just kind. They maybe, if they're on a long drive, they just want to talk. When I was in the Canary Islands, it was just people who like genuinely wanted to do me a favor. You know, they didn't want anything in return. They saw me on the side of the road. They're like, "You're going there? I'm going there too. Jump in." And so you chat to them a little bit. You have like a super nice interaction with them. Like I love like chatting to random people about their stories. I love chatting to fucking random weirdos in bars and stuff. That's like my biggest pastime ever. I feel like it's like a very British thing as well. No, yeah, maybe, just chat to like I love it. Yeah. And so hitchhiking for me is great. And what I learned with social media, one of the things that I've learned is everyone will try and tell you, you can't do that. You're not allowed to do this. Hitchhiking's illegal. Skating on the road's illegal. Skating on the road without a helmet's illegal. Skating on the road with your headphones in is illegal. It's like, yeah, well. I never knew these things were illegal. I had no idea. It doesn't, my personal philosophy is, fuck it. It doesn't matter. Like, I would much rather, as you say, fuck around and find out. And like, because otherwise what? Like, if I'd listened to these people, I never would have had the best experience in my life. You know? I never would have done these like amazing things if I've been scared to like, oh, you're not allowed to sleep outside in Spain. It's like, well, I'm going to try it because I'm not harming anyone. I'm out of the way. I'm not like ruining the environment, or like I'm not leaving trash anywhere. You know what I mean? I'm not doing literally anything wrong.
Yeah.
If a police officer wants to go and find me in the middle of fucking nowhere and find me, good for him. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything bad, and I think most reasonable people would agree with you with that as well. You know what I mean? Like, fair enough. You got to break some rules sometimes. I'm a big fan of breaking rules.
Yes. That's a way to live life, a full life.
I used to be a rule follower, like a massive rule follower.
Really? Oh.
And I had the New Year's resolution a couple of years ago that I was like, this year I'm going to break more rules. And I started doing it, and I've never looked back. As long as it's like within reason, of course. I'm not crazy stuff, but yeah, I'm gonna break more rules, and I think that was probably one of the best New Year's resolutions that I ever did.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Cool. I love that. No, I wanted to ask you about your board, Valentina. Because I saw that you did a reel where you're asking people to like name it, and I think I saw in the comments somebody said like lavender or something like that. But I really like the name Valentina because I think it gives it a lot of character. And I was just curious who came up with the name.
So I actually came up with the name. So I did the whole like story for people to name it, and honestly, I just got a bunch of shit suggestions. Yeah. So in the end, like one of my favorite books, like I still am in a sense, but I don't really read it so much anymore. But when I was younger-ish, like in my like 16, 17, 18, I started getting really into sci-fi. And then from sci-fi, I started getting really into fantasy books. And the first book that I got into sci-fi was a book called Ender's Game, which is like a 4-part like saga. But in the first part, it's about like a young boy who is like, I don't know, it's really like a kind of a pensive, and you kind of really get a look inside this young boy's perspective, and it sounds crazy. Like they're training him to be a soldier from very, very young. Okay. And then I don't know, it's interesting. Anyway, his sister in the book, her name is Valentine. Okay. And so I always loved that name, Valentine. I always thought it was cool, but because I love the character so much, so I always thought I'm going to name one of my like daughters Valentine, or maybe Valentina or something like that. Yeah. And then when I called, when I had the board, I was like, it just kind of made sense to me. I was like, okay, I'm going to call it Valentine. But then I just kept saying Valentina because it just kept coming out more naturally. And I was like, okay, Valentina it is.
Love it.
It's kind of like some things named themselves, you know. She kind of like Valentine to Valentina. She kind of named herself. It suits her. Yeah. It suits the board. Yeah. And the board's cool as well because like initially, so like after my first trip, I reached out to the skateboard brand Globe. Mm-hmm. I was like, look, I skateboarded the whole into Spain on one of your skateboards. Send me some skateboards or send me some cash or something for my next trip. I was like, do you want to be a sponsor? They sent me like 5 boards. The one that I liked most was the one that I took on the Canary Island trip. But I didn't like the design on the bottom of the board. And just by like some freak coincidence, during one of our events in Barcelona, we were at like this art exhibition, art gallery. The event was in an art gallery. It's called Montreal, actually. It's like a cultural space. Yeah. And they have all these like exhibitions on the wall. And one of the things they had was like these painted skateboard decks where this girl would like paint custom skateboard decks. And I was like, I need to contact her. Yeah. So her name's Philly Art, or I think she actually has Philly Art. That's perfect. She changed her Instagram handle recently, but if you're interested to see it, anybody, you can see it. She's tagged in all of my like Skate the 8 videos. And I sent her the skateboard base, and she like painted it for free, like as a part of a collaboration. So she did this awesome job. And like if you saw it, it's like this kind of beautiful purple color. Yeah, it has this kind of like cool like. I love it. For me to explain it, but. Awesome design. She completely smashed it. So super grateful to her. She's super cool as well. So I love it. It's my favorite colors as well. Like lilac, purple, pink, those type of colors. My favorite. It's beautiful. Amazing. Okay. And I just want to move on to Guiris de Mierda. Yeah. What was your very first event? Do you remember? Our first event. Officially, because I mean, like this was before it was even called Guiris de Mierda. This is just when I was like doing meetups from social media. I was doing meetups just to make content out of the meetups, and so I did. We did a market meetup, the one that's in Lavapiés. I think it's called San Fernando. Yeah, El Mercado de San Fernando. Yeah, in Lavapiés. Loads of people came. It was just like a blast. And then that was kind of the first one, and I made videos about it. And the next thing we did was something similar. And the next thing we did was like a pool day. And this was all before it was even called Guiris de Mierda. Oh wow! Yeah, this is just when I was I was using the events to just make interesting content, basically. Amazing. Like I organised a meetup for foreigners, and people in the comments were like, how do I come to this? I want to come to this. Wow. Yeah, okay, and then it all just kind of started to grew super organically, flourish into Guiris de Mierda. Exactly. And I like the speed dating ones. I think they're cool. Mm-hmm. You should come to one.
I will. I'm single, and why not?
Yeah. Ready to mingle.
Ready to mingle. Well, to be honest,
we have lots of nice guys that come to our speed dating.
The only thing is, I'm like weird with like dating setup situations, like dating apps.
Okay.
I don't love them.
Okay.
Speed dating, like I've never done it, so I can't judge it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like I think I would like.
It's true.
I like to meet people organically. You know.
Some people get weirded out. It's true, but honestly, our dating events, they're really friendly anyway. So even if you don't find like romantic love, like you'll definitely meet guys and girls that are just cool. So, yeah.
So it's also like a place to make friends and make connections.
Like, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. We say it's about obviously everybody. The love element is a nice to have. But like really we're there for just like to have a good time, to meet people. Yeah.
And I want to ask, do you have any success story of your dating events?
Yeah, I've heard of loads of people that like started dating, then maybe stopped dating. I've heard of like, people always after the events, they always go out and get drinks together. So who knows what happens after the event? I mean, I can take a good guess, but it's one of those things. I don't ever go out after the events. I always go like directly home and let let the kids have their fun, that sort of thing. But I don't know. For me, I kind of think we've definitely had couples that have came out of Guiris de Mierda. I don't know if out of the speed dating directly, although I know that people have met in speed dating, started dating, but I don't know what happens afterwards because, to be honest, in the community, a lot of people that come, they're single. And when they find someone, they kind of like go into like relationship mode. Right. They don't come back as much.
Yeah, so you never know, I guess.
Exactly. So we don't get the update. I would love to know.
It's not like a TV reality show where we get the update later in life.
Exactly. But I mean, I would honestly love to do that. I think it'd be so good. Like to try and figure out a way to make it like a first dates format. So I've really been trying to think recently how I can make it so it's like I want to get videos of people that come to our dating and try and make something. I don't really know. I don't know what the format is yet, but like this, to try and advertise the people beyond the speed dating. You know what I mean? And be like, Mark, 29, like something funny. I don't know what the format is yet, but I think there's some viral video format there. Yeah, for sure. A little brainstorming, and you can definitely figure it out. Yeah. Denise, my second-hand woman, she met the love of her life at Guiris de Mierda. Okay. She's dating a guy called Sylvester who came on our first ever Camino Santiago, so I love him as well. So these two are a complete power couple within the Guiris de Mierda community. Who else? We've got another. Okay, so you're bringing people together in many different ways. There are people that have met their significant others through Guiris for sure, like lots of people. That's amazing. Yeah. Awesome. And what is the most common, well, I can probably guess what the most common nationality is that you've like come across in Madrid, and then like the most unique one or one that you were surprised like from our events? Yeah. So the most unique one, probably I've got a bit of recency bias here, but I met a guy the other day from Palestine. Okay. And I don't think I've ever met someone from Palestine before, to be honest. And he was like, "You'll never guess where I'm from." And I was like, Kazakhstan? I was trying to think, and I was like, Bahrain, and he was like, no, and he was like, Palestine, but he's like, but no one. I don't think I have either, actually, now that I think about it. So there's him, and then the most common, I mean, that come to our events, we get a lot aside from Spanish, obviously. Aside from Spanish, they come to our events, we get a lot of Americans, actually. Oh, really? We get a lot of Americans, we get a lot of Latinos. British, actually. No, we don't get many British, to be honest. We have a few British, but yeah, it's not like that. When you expect it to be all British, but it's really not. Okay. We get a lot of Latinos. Obviously, that's not a nationality, but like we get people from Mexico, from Venezuela. We get a lot of Venezuelans, actually. I asked that because yesterday I actually met somebody who lives in Cohabs, and I want to have him on an episode, who is half Finnish, half Bangladesh. Damn. And I thought that was really cool and so interesting. But he was born in Dallas, but didn't really grow up there. He's been around. Okay. And yeah, I don't think it's very unique. I don't think I'll ever meet another person with that kind of mix. Yeah, I'm boring. Yeah. I'm 100% British. No, you're not. British and proud, but you definitely, I think you can call yourself a bit of a Spaniard now. Yeah? Yeah. I'll give you the... Gato. You are Spanish. I always say that I'm a gato, and in Spanish people are like, you're not a gato. A gato? A gato is like when you're like, you have to have both parents from Madrid and both both grandparents from Madrid. So I call myself a gato, and they're always like, you're not a gato. I'm the guiri gato, you know? Would you say you're feeling more at home in Spain? Do you ever see yourself going back to England? Or do you see yourself like the rest of your future in Spain, or have you pondered like moving again, starting somewhere new? My ideal scenario would be, I love Spain. So my base would be Spain, but I would love to spend time in Latin America as well.
Oh, right. You said that.
So I would love to spend time in Latin America. So maybe like just live in summer forever. You know what I mean? Like come to Europe for summer and then go to Latin America for their summer. But for that, I need to open Guiris de Mierda, Medellin or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Which I'm actually
Medellin is a really good idea. I've never been, but I've heard amazing. Literally everybody who talks about Medellin says amazing things about it.
I've never been either. But I'm going to go soon, I think, because I'm speaking to a guy over there that wants to like try out doing Guiris de Mierda over there. So I think we're going to try and do something. And I was like, if we do that, I'm going to be there at the launch no matter what. See you soon. So.
Okay, cool. And I just want to ask, like, your adventures in Spain, your time here in Spain. How do you think your relationship has it changed? Has your relationship with Spanish culture
yeah, for sure.
I don't know, changed in a way or become like a bigger part of your identity?
For sure. So when I first came over, I was super ignorant. I didn't know that Spain had anything good going for it apart from the beaches, which is like super ignorant, but like just classic English mentality. We just come here on holiday and that's it. And then now, obviously, like I appreciate Spain for all of its beauty. Yeah. Like, there's so much, it's like a little mini continent, you know what I mean? Yeah. The mountains you can ski, like I was saying earlier on, there's like all the comunidades autónomas, is like there's something different everywhere and they all have their own su encanto, as they say. And so for me, it's like, so I think that my relationship with Spain has definitely changed a lot for that reason. I appreciate it more.
That's amazing.
I know it more intimately, so.
I feel like you probably know it more than I do at this point because you've traveled around Spain so much.
I've definitely traveled.
And you've interacted with Spanish culture so much, probably more than I have.
I think, to be honest though, whenever I tell Spanish people this, like what I did with the Canary Islands and with down Spain, they're like, you've definitely traveled more than me. So I think I've traveled more of Spain than most Spanish people.
I would say so. Yeah.
Come for me in the comment.
Yeah. And how many golden guiris are there?
We've got over 100.
Wow. Yeah. Amazing. You've really built a community.
The Golden Guiri community is growing, and that's one of my main focuses for the rest of the year. I want to provide more online benefits for them. I want to provide more of like an online element to the community. Maybe something like global guiris. I don't really know. I'm not really sure like what that looks like, but I want to make it so we've got like, so you can kind of like have your guiri community in anywhere. We don't need to be the ones organizing all the events and stuff like that, but like kind of have these like, not satellite groups, but you know what I mean? Like these remote groups and stuff. So any city you go to, you could be like, oh, who's the Golden Guiri community here? Is there any plans going on? That sort of thing.
Kind of like the Rotary Club.
I don't know what that is, but yeah, send it to me and then I'll copy it, everything.
It's definitely nowhere near as interesting as Guiris de Mierda, but yeah. It's a charity organization or something like that. Anyway.
We don't believe in charity.
And biggest, I guess, challenge and advice do you have?
Challenge that I've had in my life?
No, building this community. Like the challenge that you faced that really stuck with you.
Oh, the venues, they're fucking nightmares.
Venues?
The venues are so annoying. Like, I mean, like, I love our good venue partners. I love you guys, but like people, we've had events cancelled. We've had 2 huge events cancelled on the week of the event. We've had sponsors. We had a sponsor pull out recently. I'm not going to say their name, but they're like a hard seltzer brand that are just starting in Madrid right now. They're contacting loads of influencers. So if you kind of know what's going on in Madrid right now, maybe you know them, but they fucked us. Sorry, am I allowed to? I've been swearing on this podcast.
Yeah, of course.
They fucked us so hard. Like they pulled out the event last minute and like just in the most immature way. They pulled out and then blocked me and my team on WhatsApp. It's like they sent the message and blocked us. Like how immature, like
the drama,
total babies. Like just worst way of doing business ever. So obviously I'm like telling all of the people that I know like that they also approached. Like, look, work with them at your own risk, but sign contracts with them so they can't do the same thing to you that they did to us.
Yeah.
So that sort of stuff is a big challenge. And it's also like venues, you'll organize an event, you'll sell out all the tickets, then it'll come to the week of the event. They're like, oh, can we change them? It's like, no, we can't change anything. You guys agree, they get greedy, you know? So our good venue partners, we love them and we value them so much, but like, one of the things that we try and do is we try and move venues a lot because it's more interesting when we work with new people. We try and support venues. Sometimes we have to save the barrio, which is like we try and support local Paco bars and stuff, but they're just not used to working with people like us, and they just want to change stuff all the time, and it's a nightmare, to be honest. But whatever. Sometimes I say that I love the pressure
Mm-hmm.
because when something like that happens, when we have an event for 150 people the week of the event, the sponsor pulls out, the venue pulls out, I'm like, give me the pressure, because it means that like I just know that would crumble a lot of people that were doing the same thing, and it means that if that happens to me, it's going to happen to my competition. I know that they probably don't have it in them to make it happen still.
That's a cool way to look at it.
I heard it from Dana White. Do you know who Dana White is?
No.
Dana White's the like chairman of the UFC, or he's like the previous owner of the UFC.
Okay.
He's a promoter, but he's also like crazy mogul, like entrepreneur.
Oh.
And he says the same thing. He's like, I know. He's like, pressure is like, I eat it for breakfast. He's got kind of like a real macho kind of like personality, but I love that shit. And he's like, I eat it for breakfast. He's like, the team come to me, they tell me this fighter's pulled out of the event, they tell me that blah blah blah, they tell me XYZ.
Yeah.
And he says, just give me more pressure. He's like, I love it, and that's his mentality. He's like, give me more pressure, because that's how we work best.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like that as well. When we had a big Christmas party, and on the week of the Christmas party, the venue pulled out, and like we had like 200 people. It was our biggest event ever. And like, imagine December, if you don't know, for events, a weekend in December is like when all of the companies in Madrid are doing their Christmas parties.
Yeah.
And we had to find a venue for 200 people, and I was like, when they pulled out, I was like, this kind of excites me for some reason. It's like a sick thing in my head. I was like, let's fucking go.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. I think some people just work best under pressure. I know that I subconsciously, I think, leave things to the last minute, because until I start to feel the pressure, I try not to anymore. I've gotten better at managing that.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I just work better under pressure. And I think, what do they say? Diamonds are made under pressure.
So it's like pressure makes diamonds. Pressure makes diamonds.
There you go.
And then so that was the biggest challenge. And then you said that advice.
Oh, advice. Yeah, if you have a piece of advice for, I guess, building community or starting a business, or
My advice, I mean, I definitely don't have the best advice, because I only have my own experience. But I would say, for me, the best thing I ever did was starting a personal brand.
Right.
Changed my life completely. Because I've met people like you, I met people like all the good opportunities I've had in my life.
100%.
Not in my life, but like over the past few years, they've all came from a personal brand.
Yeah.
So,
100%. This is like everything I'm doing here and stuff. I'm honestly, Tom, trying to reinvent myself. Okay. And the last year for me has been very transformative. And I think I'm trying to find like my personal brand, or build my personal brand as well.
Love it.
And
content.
Yeah, Unrooted is a really big part of that. So yeah, cool. Actually, I forgot. I wanted to ask you about your tattoos, because you can't really see them right now, but I noticed them in your videos, and I was wondering if you had any like cool story behind any of them, like from traveling or anything.
Some of them are awful, some of them are good. I think that's just the way that that what happens. I mean, I've got Guiri de Mierda. That's pretty.
No way. Do you?
My arm here, for example.
Nice.
But I've got like some have meaning, some don't. I don't really have any that. One of my more recent ones is one that you can't see. Well, you can see it.
Oh, yeah.
It goes like halfway down my back, so it grows a lot as it goes down. It's like kind of goes super cool. One of my favorite ones at the moment, because it's like one of the new ones I did. It kind of represented the wrong way down. It represented the time that I traveled across Spain, and it kind of is really abstract, but it's kind of beautiful for that reason as well.
Yeah.
And so that was one of my newer ones. But I mean, some of my tattoos I get them for the meaning. Some of them I get them for the artist, and some of them I get them for the fuck of it, like Guiri de Mierda, you know what I mean? Like that sort of stuff.
Cool.
I want to get lots more, but they're expensive, so.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. I always had, when I was a teenager, I loved tattoos, but then after I was like, no, I'm not going to get one. I don't know what happened last summer. Like I said, I was going through a transition in my life, and I was like, I feel like I really want a tattoo to symbolize what I'm going through right now. So I got one here in Madrid in August, and it's a white lotus. Well, no, not a white lotus, just a lotus flower. I've been watching White Lotus, that's why I said white. It's a lotus flower that I got here in my rib cage, and I love it so much, because lotus flowers, they symbolize new beginnings. Okay. So yeah, it's my little baby I got here, and I really want to get a second one. I was thinking like a phoenix or something, but I don't know where. But it would be like fine line, because I only like the fine line ones. But yeah. Okay. Anyway, thank you so much for being here, Tom. This has been so cool. Like, I really wanted to get to know you a bit more and like your story. And I think your followers as well probably gonna love hearing more about you.
They hear me speak enough shit all the time. I think I've talked about stuff that I haven't spoken about before. So today,
amazing. And I had a feeling, because obviously you have to fit your stories into 60-second reels, pretty much the short form content. So you have to keep it short. Yeah. So I guess today you were able to get into more detail with some things. So,
nice.
thank you so much. This was amazing. I had so much fun. Okay, guys, make sure to follow, subscribe, like, share, all the things, and I will see you next week. Bye.